alongside 6 other pathologists who are representing different other parties. I will just give an overview of what we found and try to be a little bit brief. But the background information that we had is the Honorable Munuve, prior to his death, he had been complaining of some chest pains and difficulty in breathing, for which he had sought medical help. His condition did not improve, and on the day that he passed away, he collapsed twice, and on arriving at AR Hospital, he was pronounced dead on arrival. On external examination of his body, what was significant is that the deceased had signs of lack of oxygenation, which we call cyanosis. His fingers had turned color to blue instead of pink. The only physical injury that he had that was significant were some abrasions or bruises on his right elbow. He did not have any signs of medical intervention to show that he was alive, so that he was receiving any form of treatment. In terms of his body physique, Mheshimiwa had a normal body physique. He did not appear to be somebody who was unfit or anything. He looked quite okay. We opened the body, and the pertinent finding in the lung is that we found evidence that he had had previous disease on his right lung, which had what we call adhesions, or what in layman language we can put it as scarring of that lung. On his left lung, we found a dead area of the left lung, and this was because of lack of blood supply. We went on to examine his cardiovascular system, that is the heart and the blood vessels. We found one major blood vessel that comes from the heart. It's called the pulmonary artery. It had a huge clot, which in our report is written as an embolus. This is what occluded or blocked blood from traveling to his lungs to get enough oxygen to distribute to the rest of his body. On examination of his heart, he had mild enlargement of the heart, which was not significant enough to cause any death. And we traced all the way to the left lower limb, the origin of the blood clot that we found in the pulmonary artery. We traced it all the way to the left leg, behind the calf region, and we were able to demonstrate another blood clot, which is the one that originally detached, traveled to the heart, and started that cascade of events that led to full occlusion and the passing on of Mr. Munuve. All his other body examination was unremarkable. We did not find anything significant contributing to death in his other body systems. And therefore, by way of conclusion, and all the pathologists that we were with, we had a consensus that the cause of death of Munuve was pulmonary thromboembolism, which is blockage of the pulmonary artery due to the blood clot in the left leg, which we call deep vein thrombosis in medical terms. I wish to finish there.
Good morning once again, members of the Fourth Estate. Need that the Assembly and the leadership led by the Speaker on my left to find out the true cause of the death of one of their colleagues. Indeed, of course, the autopsy is both a medical procedure, but involves also a lot of legalities because of the nature of that particular process and because of the need to ensure that no stone is left unturned. So we actually attended from the first point to the very last point. So from a legal perspective, and I'm happy Daktari has indicated, of course, there was representation of every interest. We had over 6 pathologists, and notably there was the senior most pathologist was actually a family, was actually contracted by the family, that is Dr. Moturi. And based on that, the postmortem was conducted officially by the chief government pathologist, that is Dr. Johansen Oduor. And that is a neutral party. We had the other pathologists who had been contracted separately, but the need for that is to ensure that everything happens openly, and the family itself was directly represented by the brother of the late in the actual procedure, and some other 2 or 3 other relatives. So whatever procedure that resulted to the autopsy report, it was conducted openly and without anything being hidden. That is a testimony that we can attest to. On the actual processes themselves, of course, the doctor and the autopsy report speaks for itself. What is notable and what we would want to be underlined, and that is the report that we have brought back to our instructing client, that is the assembly, is that all the pathologists, all of them, they were unanimous. The big English word here is unanimous. They were all unanimous that the cause of death is actually the blood clot that went to the pulmonary artery. So to that particular extent, we also established the cause or the source of this particular clot, which was from the legs going upwards. So it was quite comprehensive, such that in the legal parlance, and I believe also the medical parlance, the process yesterday had a conclusive outcome. There is nothing else that any of the pathologists say that they really need to dig further. It was quite conclusive, and notably what also was established is that that clot is not a clot that developed just a day, 2 days, or 3 days. It is a clot that has been there for quite some time. Actually, there is a way of measuring how long a clot has been there. But even by just the visible signs on the clot, it was very clear, and again unanimous, that that clot is something that developed quite some time back, unnoticed, and ended up going up. Ideally, in the views of the doctors, and I believe even ourselves and any other person who was there, this is something that will have been noticed earlier. It was clear from the history that was given that Mheshimiwa sought medical help. Actually, there were all symptoms that he was not well quite some time back. He sought help from a medical facility. Ideally, it is our expectation, and we really had hoped that if that medical facility had done its homework, maybe Mheshimiwa would have been here and we will not even be sitting here. The reason for that is because clots are treatable. If detected earlier, they are treatable, and Daktari will bear me true on that. And they are ideally based on the time that he first visited the hospital. I think it was on the 17th or 18th day. It was clear that at that particular point, he would have maybe received proper medical attention. He visited that hospital twice, and I think the 3rd time is when, unfortunately, he met his demise. So there was, and all through, the brother indicated that there were all symptoms that there was an issue, especially with his chest cavity. So what the doctors ruled out was that there was no foul play. Everything was consistent. The death was consistent with the aspect of a blood clot going upwards. There was nothing based on all the visible signs that they actually got. I'm happy that the doctor for the lawyer for the family and the family itself are also focusing on that. But more importantly, I think it's time for the family to be given time now to properly mourn. There is closure. And we have said Honorable Munuve has several families. There's a direct family. There is the brothers and sisters who are seated here. all of them are grieving. I think it behoves all of us to respectfully now give him a befitting send-off. The cause of death has been found. And based on that, I think being responsible citizens, I think everything is there for everyone to now partake of what happens going forward. I think with that, based on the instructions, mine is to convey our condolences to the family, to the county assembly led by the speaker here and the leadership here. And notably, I would want to isolate Mheshimiwa Robert Alai, was quite there with us throughout the process and stood by the side of his departed colleague, which was quite good. And several other Waheshimiwas were there yesterday. So it was done in open, and our client